So lion, tigers, and bears. When you said it, but, oh, hey, people.
Maybe we should move this.
Yeah, that would help. But can't nobody see that? It wasn't even in the way.
It seemed like it was in one. A little bit. It really did. All right, go ahead. What are you saying now?
All right, so I have a couple things we're going to talk about, but something that my wife is this type of person, so I came up with this idea. She's always looking into the future, so to speak. She uses a broad lens where I don't. But I actually think that it's a good topic, and it is uh, what are our because we've never discussed this. What are our long-term marriage goals? So I'm putting us on the spot to do this in front of people and see what we come up with. And I have absolutely nothing. I ain't gonna say I have nothing, but it's something that I really haven't thought about. And as I was thinking, I was like, because I do be playing my game.
So you just didn't do no type of intro, no, you just went right into
Oh yeah, I went right into it. I ain't got time for all that.
Oh, okay.
Our long-term marriage goals. But when you think about, so occasionally, like when I'm playing my game and stuff like that, or if I just be brainstorming, I'll think about things to do to make our marriage better. And I think we talked about that one time before, like amongst us, and just marriage goals, but we never actually said any. So I think we should do it now.
I don't know if I can come up with those on the spot because if I do, they'd be superficial.
Well, it
You
shouldn't
just
be
think of
super.
something.
Well, okay. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be superficial. We could sit here and brainstorm and think about things that we would want to accomplish and where we would like for our marriage to continuously go. Continue, continuously, continual. Con, where our marriage should keep on going in the right directions. So,
Okay.
do you all? So you can't come up with nothing?
No, I'm just saying. Give me some time to think. I think while we're thinking,
Well, I already got.
Let me just recap some stuff. Though,
Okay.
from the week. No.
Oh, go ahead. We can end with that if you want.
He just went into some.
But no, we can end with that though.
He didn't do no top of the hour.
Well, yeah, top of the hour. We got time. I gotta go finish cooking.
None of this.
But I did write some other things down too. That was just one. Anyway.
Well, but first though, Jermaine's birthday was yesterday, so.
Yeah, okay.
Happy birthday to you.
I appreciate that. You gonna tell me what the other birthday present you got me?
No.
So it's not really a happy birthday.
Anyway, so Jermaine's birthday was yesterday.
Yeah. I'm 28 again.
We have been. I'm just gonna recap some stuff throughout the week. We've actually seen a couple of. We've been watching movies a lot lately, and series and things like that.
Yeah.
We've actually seen a couple of good ones. For once that I don't know, because we have different tastes in movies.
Yeah,
but
no, I won't get in that.
But we found two movies I think that we both really liked, right?
Yeah,
two. Well, yeah, Companion.
Companion is definitely one, and then the one last night was it was actually excellent. It was way better than I thought.
Yeah. So Rob Peace, it is on Netflix, and it's a really, really good movie. It's been out for a year though.
Yeah, Quentin said he saw it. My cousin said
he saw it. It's been out since 2024, and it seems like I've seen it on there, and I don't know why I kept skipping by it. To be honest, but we did watch it last night. It was a very, very good movie based on a true story. Good, thought provoking, definitely. But then just goes to show you how life is sometimes and how you can kind of get yourself stuck.
Yeah. So Rob Peace, if you haven't seen it, go check that out. Companion, with Companion is something that my wife and I had discussed when we went on our 5-mile walk about the way society is going, the way with AI and everything like that. So it was certain things in the movie that we discussed. I don't, if you're gonna go see it, I don't really want to ruin it, but how we project that the world would go with AI. And like I said, the day before we actually saw the movie, I said some things and she said some things, and it was in the movies. if you pay attention to life, 20 years ago, she brought this up to me. Back to the Future had hoverboards, and within the last 5, 7 years, 10 years, hoverboards became a thing. So AI is really the trajectory of life right now. So that's a couple things that we've been doing.
It is the companion, and then I don't know what else happened. Of course, everyone knows Super Bowl was Sunday. My team wasn't playing, but hey, I think I enjoyed the fact that Eagles won though, because it seemed like they deserved it. They were playing really hard.
Hard. They gave a butt whooping.
Yeah,
It became boring.
And I think it was well deserved. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? I was going to just mention. Oh, and I'm still sad about AD being. Wait, okay, so I didn't know this. Wait, I didn't know. Okay, AD got traded. I'm sorry, I gotta ask you this because I just realized this yesterday.
Please don't ask me no crazy questions.
I'm about to ask you a crazy question because I didn't know this. I didn't know that when they traded him, that meant he had to go right away. I thought he went like next season or something, but like he's already over there. That made me sad.
Baby.
What?
You know that sure you know too much about sports.
But is that what happens when they trade them? They don't just wait?
No.
Why
woman,
not?
If you get traded, it could be right before the game and you get traded, they shipping you the hell off.
Are you serious?
You're no longer part of the team.
So what, you don't get no time to prepare or nothing?
If they fire you from your job, do they give you a chance to prepare to get your house in order?
That's like being fired?
It's like getting traded. Your piece of property is what it is. If you go trade your car, if we go trade the Traverse, we got a 2022. If we go trade it on a 2025, are they going to be like, oh, well, you know what? Just bring it next year, but we still going to let you drive it, and we're going to give you the 2020. No, you got to get you gone. When you trade it, you gone.
That made me sad. I didn't know. I didn't know he was gone. I was like, what? What? That's why he injured. Poor guy. Probably can't even think. That's sad. That was sad.
We're gonna have to talk on this.
He said he was shocked.
When we you don't talk sports to me.
I didn't know that.
You can talk about
football too.
Yes, when you get traded, you're gone. The
like
day
right
of,
then?
People have gotten traded in the middle of a game.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
What they do?
Well, I mean, they had to finish the game, or they sat down, or went to stay in the locker room or something. I forgot who that was. They got traded.
Are you serious?
Yes, baby. Right before the game and all that.
That's so mean.
Okay, that's why the players do it.
Okay. Anyway, those were all my little top of the hour things. I was sad about Anthony Davis. I was like, what in the world? Poor guy. But see, that's what they get for trading him, because I heard that they traded him, then they tried to get a center, and the center.
Yeah, they'll say stop.
Oh, that's not what happened? Yeah, that's what they said.
That's what happened, but they signed one today.
Okay, but I don't care, so they started away a little bit. Anyway, that was my point. Okay, I was sad about AD. I like Anthony Davis.
All right, so you ready to get into these?
Yes.
So one of the things that as I was scrolling through the internet and my timeline, I wanted to ask or see if what's your opinion from a woman's standpoint. I think it's different with women than it is men, maybe. But how much the sex aspect of things in a marriage relationship? How much sex is too much sex or not enough sex that you think that what is not enough sex for you in our marriage?
I don't know.
Okay, well, then what do you think so why do you think these people having all these issues like, oh, if I don't get none or she don't give me none or he don't give me none, I'm going to go do this. I got to get it from somewhere.
I don't think that's married people. Well, I think that's boyfriend, girlfriend.
I see a lot of that is that too, but I do see a lot of I've seen married couples say, well, you got to give it to them, and even some of these what are them people called podcasters that be having their shows. If you don't give it to him, he gonna go get it from somewhere else.
But I don't know if they talking about married people.
They're definitely talking about married people.
Okay, well, I think there's two different aspects to this. So then
even if you're in a relationship,
they're talking about immature married people, because apparently I don't even know why you married if that's still like the center of your whole being and your whole relationship, because there's gonna be times where you may not be able to have sexual intimacy for months, and for you to be that engrossed in sexual intimacy where it's going to make you leave or make you go cheat. I just don't. Those are people that are not cut out for marriage, to be honest. To your point, it reminds me, that question reminds me of that movie, that series that we watched. It was kind of a limited series, but the one about the girl who had the husband,
That was thinking about ex-boyfriend
and
or
she was thinking
whatever.
about her ex-boyfriend. And I think a lot of hers was triggered from the sexual intimacy aspect. But I think it was not just the sexual intimacy, but the intimacy period. It seemed like her husband was lacking in being able to provide her emotional needs, as well as lacking in the ability to provide for her sex in a sexual way. I ponder if she had had that emotional connection with him, if at the end of the day sex would have been that big of an issue for her.
Hmm.
Because I don't know if it would have.
So I think that I think a lot of that comes because of the like how we talk about the generations have different mindsets, and I think a lot of that comes because of that as well. Because I think that people, the younger generation, especially the younger generation, are predicating their relationships
Mhm.
and even going into marriage. Number one, we already discussed a while ago that a lot of people shouldn't be married. They're not even ready for marriage, but they're predicating it on the sex aspect, right? And they're not thinking about, oh, sometimes he or she may not be able to do this, or he or she may not feel like it. And I think that we had a conversation one time before that. Are you obligated to have sex with your partner if you're not in the mood, or if they just want to do it and you just can't, or whatever? Are you obligated?
Mhm.
So I think when people, like you said, I agree with you on the sexual immaturity aspect of it. I've said to you when we first met, I think that's why I before, not on you,
Mhm.
because let me clarify that. But when I was cheating and out in the streets, and people I know, if you're not sexually mature, which is a real thing, then you require sex
Mhm.
more than the average mature person that needs other things in their relationship or from their partner. So I think a lot of it has to do with the mindset of the generations, how they're transitioning from one stage to another.
Yeah,
So,
I
um,
agree.
and if I'm going to answer the question directly, I don't know what's too much sex and what's not too much sex in a relationship. That depends on the individuals personally, but I kind of one of thinks that, like, if you're attracted to your partner, you're attracted to your partner. If she or he attracted, and it's like a chemistry. It's like dating all over again. When you meet somebody, you got. I learned this with you. Is I'm not gonna tell where, but it's certain places that I could touch you, like fully dressed in clothes, to potentially get you in the mood. Like, and that's new to me too, because I've never really did that. It was like, come on, let's do it, or whatever the case was. Not with you, but I'm saying in general.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's too much sex, and I think that's like you said, an immature statement. And when I see people talking about it, it baffles me. How do you predicate your marriage or your relationship on just sex? That's crazy. So
Yeah.
basically, if as you get older, the person, because our body changes, if they can't, do whatever it takes to have sex, do you just leave them at that point?
Right.
Because things happen.
That's true. And
So
I think there's other ways. Attraction doesn't have to be fulfilled through sexual intimacy either.
how do people get that misconstrued though, and think that? And I'm legitimately sitting here thinking, like, why do people think that the only way to be intimate with somebody is through sex?
I think a lot of that has to do with how people are raised, things that they were lacking maybe in childhood, or um, and sometimes we people who are lacking various emotional, for example, if they've been emotionally neglected, whether it's intentionally unintentionally in childhood, and they encounter an individual who's primary way of supposedly showing this emotional attachment is through sexual intimacy, then they develop that as a means of, hey, this is how I get that emotional need fulfilled. Or you can have even in circumstances where little kids who are neglected emotionally, but they see like their parent always cuddled up with another guy or woman, or
That's not their
that's not
mother,
their
father.
mother or
Okay.
father, and that seems to bring them joy, or they see them touching, or sometimes
That's why.
parents expose their kids to too much and they see more than that, right? And that's bringing the supposedly the mom or dad joy. Then the kid automatically sometimes align that with, oh, this is what you're supposed to do in order to have your emotional
So
needs
do
met.
you think that? I'm sorry, I mean.
No, go ahead.
So I wonder, do you think that works as far as like if the kid sees? Well, I guess so. Especially in situations like ours, I'm gonna use my daughter for instance, because she see. Well, I guess so. Yeah, she's a great example because she seeing you and I, husband and wife, um, together, and then see her mother with whoever and whomever and different people that she's with. I wonder how that plays on her psyche or her, or how's that going to affect her later on in life? Is it going to be like, oh well, you know, I seen my dad and he was married and this, that, and the 3rd,
Mm-hmm.
but my mom's, I seen her with whatever she's doing. Because you remember what was the comment she made? Said that something about her mother don't have a husband,
Yeah.
and she don't want all that with
She doesn't want a husband. Yeah.
yeah, she want a baby first or some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So that's but so why would that? If you got a situation, now I'm going to something else. If you got a situation that's like that, and then one parent is married and a little bit more stable in a relationship, why would that negative effect overshine, or do you think that negative effect will overshine the positive effect?
I think it does, because kids sometimes don't differentiate between that's positive and that's negative. They're not making that distinction unless you're actively telling them that, especially when a child has been, in situations where they're seeking their emotional needs being met, or they're seeking attention. And so they can actually even see a husband and wife and think like, oh, well, that's the way. Because I mean, let's be real. You have some parents who are husband and wives who neglect their kids emotionally, right? I mean, there's been instances of that where everything is about the husband and wife. I actually saw something on, who was it, Founders, something we was watching, where they kept saying that the woman and the husband was always about each other, and they kept leaving the son somewhere. But so even they can distort that to mean like, oh, well, that's what I need to do in order to get the type of attention that I want to get. And it could just, they may not equate that with, oh, I need to get married and do it. It may just be like, no, I just need to be with somebody in that type of situation
Yeah.
to get that type of attention. So yeah,
That's interesting.
definitely have to be explained to kids, because think about it, they distort what we would consider normal mommy, daddy, husband and wife situation when they play house. Then they want to play house with their relatives and stuff, and it's like, what are you doing? That's not what that's meant to demonstrate. So
I don't, but that goes back kind of when you said that kids are exposed to too much.
Yeah.
Because why would you even like? Where did that even come from for kids? I remember that when I was a kid too, but I can't remember like where I got the terminology and trying to make it a parallel with playing houses equals boyfriend and girlfriend, or like, because do you really at 5, 6, 7 years old, do kids supposed to be talking about playing house and acting like they're in a relationship? I don't even think they should be acting like they're married at that early of an age, because to me that kind of put a damper on marriage, because with marriage comes everything, a level of intimacy and with sex and everything else that a 5-year-old just really is not capable of understanding.
Right. And a lot of times the context with that is just completely missing.
So yeah, exactly. That's
they don't have the context to it. They just don't. They're just doing.
They're just doing it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, depending on, so that's why I respect mom so much, right? Your mother, because the way that I see you and Belinda and everybody raised, especially you, because I've been around you. I wasn't around, them as far as being raised. I wasn't around you being raised either. But what I see of you, um, mom didn't play certain things from what you told me as like the average families that I've seen coming up. Meaning,
yeah,
I have some cousins who mother, father, aunts, and nieces, and oh, let's play house and stuff like that. Like I don't think mom would even. What the hell you mean play house? Like you ain't playing nothing. You want, you know what I mean? Like so, I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting.
it is.
That's interesting.
Definitely.
So that's that. I got more. You got anything else you want to say?
No, go ahead.
Well, these are questions.
Show.
It ain't my show.
I'm saying tonight. You came up without a question. I've been working on a paper, so 2 papers. So just
okay. So then the next one is this. These are very important questions too. These I actually like these. And no, I didn't look them up. I was just thinking about it. How do people that's if you had to give suggestions to people of how to show one another affection in their relationships or marriage, I'm trying to figure out how to word the question. How should people show affection? What is the determining factor how someone should show somebody affection in their relationship or marriage? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, and how important is the showing affection? But I get that everybody is gonna like some people may like to get popped on the butt or rubbed on in this type of way. I guess I'm trying to figure out like how do people know when they're not being affectionate enough towards their spouse?
When they're not being affectionate enough?
Yeah.
Probably the main thing is communication. And that's interesting because, matter of fact, that's probably something that partners should discuss and talk about. They should discuss how important it is to communicate when they feel like their partner is lacking, as opposed to holding it in. So it should be open and they should feel comfortable, and there should be a safe space created where a person can come to their partner and say, hey, you know what? I don't feel like you're giving me enough affection. I don't feel like you meet my emotional needs. I don't feel like you're carrying your part of the burden. Because I think that's important. Because if you don't, then what happens, a lot of times people hold that stuff in because they don't want to say it, or they don't know how their spouse is going to react to it. Or it's funny because one of the counselors that I was reading one time, he said, or was it? It might have been a show I was watching, but he was doing this marriage counseling, and he said one of the things that keep you from communicating with each other is because they feel like if they say something, the wrong thing, they're going to start arguing, and then it may lead to divorce and everything else. So he said, if you take all of that off the table, then people are more likely to communicate.
And you said that key word earlier. That's why I was getting ready to cut you off, but I wanted you to finish. And you finish when I say this though. You said the key word is safe space because you and I went through that for a minute.
Yeah.
Like I felt as though if I said something, it was going to cause an argument, and with her, where she was at temperament and where I was at temperament, it wasn't the best. I just felt as though it was going to cause more problems than good. Mm-hmm. So you said the key word, and that's that safe space. And I think I don't know how you get to that safe space early though. I think that's the key to that too.
Because you have to. I mean, early on, that's what needs to be talked about. Like, and that should be part of the premarital counseling, telling couples, hey, you need to develop a safe space where you all can communicate, and it doesn't mean certain things are going to be taken off the table when you talk about it, but develop the safe space so that you can air out whatever it is that you need to say, and it should be said in love, and it should be received in love. Because if you know your partner, you should know that they're not. Even if you think that sometimes you can say, no, I know my partner said that to be offensive or whatever. But even in so, you should know them well enough to say, okay, well, he's being that way because he made me feel this way.
Why I gotta be he?
Or she's being that way because maybe she feels this way, or she's being spiteful. But I know that just because she's being spiteful doesn't mean that she doesn't care about me, or just because he's being spiteful.
Yeah, then you must go into a whole nother conversation.
But I'm just saying, like those are because you're not going to always. People, we're all human, right? And as much as we try, we sometimes say things that are offensive, and sometimes we do it purposely because we mad about something, or we say things to spite each other. And I'm not saying that's what we should do, but I'm saying in instances where it happens, if you know your partner well enough, you should be able to say, and even say to them, like, I know you said that out of spite. And I know that you still care. I'm gonna go ahead and give you an opportunity to apologize for that. And I mean, and create those. So you have to create those spaces early on, because otherwise, some of these relationships, and just like our counselor was telling us about all the people that she's counseling and how all the issues they're having, most of that is because of that. Like they're holding stuff in, and things are building up and building up, and they thinking in their head. I know, because I'm one of the type of people that used to do that, and I used to do that all the time. I ain't just talking about with you, but just with anybody. And I think it's kind of like a passive aggressive behavior a little bit, because you're sitting there, you're mad about certain things, but you don't want to voice it because it may come out this way, or you may, at the end of the day, you don't want to hurt somebody's feeling because that's just how you are. But then it's irritating you that you can't voice it, or you feel like you can't voice it. So then it just compounds the situation and makes everything worse.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, with the affection thing, that's what you do. You have to communicate that, because you never know what's too much and too little affection. So you have to be comfortable enough to come to your partner and say, hey, you're not giving me enough. Or, hey, you doing too much, because some people don't like all that. You doing too much, and I just can't handle that right now.
See, man, that's a whole nother conversation too. So how can you be too affectionate to someone you love?
You can, because different people are different ways. And in some ways, you have to respect that. Like, you have people who, for whatever reason, were never like touchy-feely type people. Now, maybe something that they can work on, but it doesn't mean that you force it on them either. You give them grace to grow or get used to it, but then even still, they may never get to the point where they want to be touched all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that part, but you know what's funny about that is it's that was one of the other things I was going to say too. Love languages. Mm-hmm. I never knew anything about love languages. Again, she's taught me a lot, y'all. But I never knew anything about love language until I met you, and then came around, and talking with the kids and everything. So I would think that once you begin to learn your partner or understand that their love language, mm-hmm. that should kind of help with that, wouldn't you think? Because if you know someone's love language, maybe that's going to tell you that they don't really like you, for instance. Mm-hmm. You don't really, you appreciate it, but you don't really want me buying you gifts like that, mm-hmm. right? So like most men think that you could buy a woman gifts and she's, satisfied, right, and stuff like that. So with the affection, I think the affection comes with knowing your partner, helps if you know your partner's love language.
Yeah.
So I think that'll help tremendously. I just thought about that because it's like you can't, like you and I, for instance, I can go buy you everything in the world, the most expensive things in the world, and it'll mean more to you if I just go to the movies or something,
right?
Because of the time, yeah. Right? So like, if that's the way I'm trying to show you affection by buying you stuff, then yeah, I'm going to be failing. Mm-hmm. So me knowing the love language again would help out on that, and which I guess that would go hand in hand with the communication. Because right, if I'm doing that and you accepting it, and then you're not saying anything, mm-hmm, then I'm gonna think that what I'm doing is fine, and then an argument, happens. And I don't need all of that. Well, you was taking it, and it mm-hmm, it just adds on to fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
So that was yeah. And then you hit another thing too. That I was gonna say boundaries.
Yeah.
That made me think about something you said before we moved here a couple years ago. I never really fully understood that. How do you set boundaries here's the communication thing and holding on to things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you set boundaries in your relationship, and what do they look like? Because I'm one that think you really do. Do you really supposed to have boundaries in a marriage or a relation, or especially a marriage? A relationship, like you said, we can, agree that relationships and marriages are different. But how do you set boundaries in a marriage, and do you supposed to have boundaries, and what do they look like?
I think they look like whatever the couple decides they should look like. Meaning, and boundaries. I mean, I think people hear the word boundaries and they think like there's some type of invisible force that a person puts around them and say, no, don't invade my space. But that's not it. A boundary could simply be, especially for me, is that okay when I'm in there meditating and stuff, please don't come in there and bother me. That's a boundary. Like because you know that's what I'm doing. You know it only takes me like 30 minutes to do it in a day. Like give me that space to do that. But don't come in here and be like, hey, can you grab my sock for me?
Yeah, but
like
that's natural. Like that's respect. If you see somebody doing something
some
like
people
that,
don't do that. Some people don't have boundaries. Some people, you have some spouses that will see their spouse engaged or in the middle of something that they're trying to do, and they will interrupt them and be like, hey, I need you. Can you come do this? I mean,
well, so I know how important that is to you, right? So then I'll go back to this. If someone knows their spouse and know that what they're doing is super duper important, unless it's an emergency, then whatever that time that they set aside to do whatever they do for themselves, I would think that people would know not to interrupt anybody. So I don't understand how
no,
that
people
really.
do this. It's a boundary. A boundary is you knowing how cold I am. Now let me tell you about a boundary. Boundaries, you knowing how cold
Don't
I
ask the
get.
kids. Don't blame that on me.
How cold I get. And then you're like,
Kids, don't blame that on me.
come outside real quick anyway. And I'm like, but I'm cold.
I just did that. Don't do that.
I know you did
do that. I just did
and I'm
that.
like, but I'm cold. Like I don't want to come outside and stand out. Like I get that you're excited, but I don't want to come outside and stand out there because I am legitimately cold and I despise being cold. But I'm just saying that it can be stuff like that.
We about to end this.
I'm just saying. Safe space. What's the safe space?
Huh?
What happens to safe space?
What do you mean safe space? It ain't safe no more. That's some bull. I just did that. I literally
and I was
just did that.
like, please don't even get.
But it was important.
It was not. It was not important.
Oh, so you was just acting like you was
now that's compromise. Me saying, you know what? Okay, let me just go.
Oh no, damn all that.
He's
So
excited.
you was
about
just
this.
acting like you was interested.
I was interested, but I didn't want to do it right then. No,
Oh wow.
I didn't. And sometimes the boundary is recognizing, like, if your spouse is tired, and you just like, hey, come here anyway, come downstairs, and they come all the way downstairs, you're like, oh, I just wanted to show you this, that type of thing. So I mean, those are boundaries too. So boundary encompasses a lot of things. It's not just a don't bother me or I'm not gonna do this.
So you know what? I
put too much on. It's not all just that.
I was looking at it in a whole total different way as well, because when I was thinking of it, I guess I was looking at it like I used to do all the time and still do. I guess in more of a negative type of light. For instance, I was thinking about don't touch my cell phone, or don't go through my phone, or don't answer my phone, or don't, look at my mail or something like that, to that extent.
Mm-hmm. No, but
so, those are the things that and I can't think of nothing else right offhand, but those are the things that I'm like, okay, you shouldn't really have no boundaries on that.
Yeah, no.
So it's like, that's what I was talking about.
But a boundary could be me saying, Jermaine, don't step on the counter of my shoes. Stop. Like, don't do that. That's and it's disrespectful for you to do it. You know what I'm saying? That could be a boundary. But I think that's something that marriages need, because if you don't set boundaries for the people who are, and I'm not saying they intentionally take their partner for granted, but sometimes people just do it. I mean, you can take somebody that you love dearly for granted. You can take your mom or your dad for granted and just not really know that that's what you're doing. But it's important as partners to set those boundaries and say, like, okay, I know you need me to do all this and this and that, but I have a really tight workload this week and I can't do that. That's setting a boundary. I can't put anything else on my plate because I have all this. You're gonna have to do this yourself. Or you got, you know what I'm saying? That's a boundary too. So no, it's not negative. It's a way of kind of self-care. So that you don't run yourself down and so that you don't get into the predicament where you're like, okay, well, yeah, I'm leaving because they not holding up their end of the bargain. Because that's what happens. What happens, some people don't set boundaries and they spouse continually doing things that they don't like. They don't sit down and discuss them and say, hey, look, I'm not going to be the one cleaning up by myself every day. And then what happens? They just leave.
Yeah,
and they
because they get
divorce.
tired.
Yeah.
But that's also when because you just said that the other day when we were talking about what the hell we was talking about, men leaving women because of this, that, and the third. That's a lot of times, people don't hear their partners, and it be like you said, it'll be the little things that'll run a woman off quicker than anything else. But
it's kind of like what you said. You used to tell me you you determine how a person treats you or something like that. Remember you say that?
Yeah.
That's talking about boundaries.
You dictate.
If you don't put them boundaries up, the person will treat you.
Dictate how somebody treats
Yeah.
you. I mean, I get it now more because I was like, I mean, I didn't even thought about it no more until I was just sitting in the room thinking like, all right, what are we gonna talk about? And I was like, man, I think that's kind of disrespectful if a man or a woman set boundaries in their relationship or marriage. And then it made me think about you when you had said that. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna say something about that.
Yeah, no, but I never said like don't touch my phone and stuff like that. Now I think that type of stuff is kind of out there.
Well, you got something.
Unless I guess
that's all that is.
Maybe if you had a spouse that was, I don't know, controlling.
There's no reason for your spouse. There's no reason, and this is the other part where I've grown at in love, mentally, and in life in general. I don't care if you're not married, if you are in a monogamous relationship, and especially if you're living together, even if you're not really living together, I mean, you're supposed to be trying to work towards marriage anyway, so you should be giving that person your all. If they can't pick up your phone and go through your phone, then you got something to hide. And I am one of the ones that do believe that at any time somebody can go through their phone and find something they don't like or
you still say that.
And I still do believe that. I still do believe that. But if you're not really doing nothing, and if you know what your partner like and dislike as far as what you should be doing and not doing, and they find something they may find something, but it ain't gonna be nothing that's like just disrespectful. It may be like, who is this person or something like that, right? Like, and it could be an innocent, somebody called you because whatever, and you forgot to tell them or whatever, and and it may not be like no ex-boyfriend. It could be just an old friend that you ain't like Gary, like Gary. You knew nothing about Gary. I never mentioned Gary, right. But let's say if Gary was Gargina, right? Right. You know what I mean? And I just pop, and Gargina had called me all of a sudden. Hey man, I ain't seen you in a while. Yeah, and I forgot to mention it to you. Right. Then that's an easy fix because I'm not really doing nothing. Right. Hey, look, blah blah blah. But if it's an ex and I've been talking to him, and then all of a sudden my phone ring, then that's a whole different story. So, but anyway, yeah. I don't know. I got more. I guess. Yeah, that was a good one. Wow. That was a good one. I think that one was kind of personal a little bit. I don't know if you want to talk about that. What is it? How do you help somebody? I guess that would be for me to answer. Maybe. Yeah, you too a little bit. Get past their past hurts and relationships while dealing with you in the new relationship, basically.
How would a person do that?
Yeah, or do you think that someone should? Do you think I mean, obviously, I will live in testimony to that as far as it can work. Do you think those type of relationships? How would you suggest somebody that's been through something like what you went through, dealing with a narcissist, or even a broken heart, just in general from a messed up relationship? How do the person that they're just now starting to date, handle them as far as their past hurts?
Um,
You
well,
get what I'm
first of
trying to
all,
say?
yeah, I've kind of changed my mindset a little bit about that. I do think that because we have all experienced some type of trauma, that it is crucial for a person to be uh, engaged in healing, whether it's by seeing a counselor or a minister or someone. And I think it's crucial for a person to already be on that journey, right? Be on the journey of healing, be on the journey of changing their mindset, be on a journey of uh, growth mentally and spiritually. Because what happens when they're not on that journey, I think it causes a lot more issues than it should. It could potentially end up have people with people that they shouldn't be with. Um, because of that, with that being said, I don't think that anyone is ever fully healed before they go in a relationship, and I think that is um, it would be it'd be a fallacy to kind of think that that would happen. I mean, I guess it could happen, but I think that I think that throughout our entire life, we are healing, we are growing, we're maturing, we're changing. So you're never going to find someone who is just static, or you shouldn't find someone who is just static, or who is. I don't think you'll find someone who's completely where they need to be, and different things like that. So I think the importance is them being on that journey, and then the only thing you can do to help them is to be supportive, to understand their journey, um, but to make sure that as they're on their journey, they're not inflicting emotional and mental harm on you. And I think one of the ways of mitigating that is by waiting until they are somewhat on that journey before you even start a relationship with them.
Okay, so I'll jump in and say this, right? It's I think you and I talked about this off of this, but I think because I was on a journey of wanting to become better anyway. Like I said, I think that's what really helped me try to understand you more and what you were going through.
Mhm.
Because I know I had done similar things to people, and then I didn't want to be that person anymore. So what I would say to someone that's dealing with somebody in a situation like that, it's going to take patience. It's going to take patience, empathy, and sympathy, and being selfless. It goes back to like what you said earlier. You can lash out, or someone can lash out at you because that they could be being triggered. Something you did could accidentally, because I triggered you a lot, accidentally trigger them, and you don't even know you're triggering them, right?
Mhm.
So you have to understand that okay, this person has been through this, uh, and this is probably why they are reacting like that. So then you again the selflessness come in at that point because you just step aside, you just put yourself aside, and then you try to explain to them or talk to them. No, this is not what I'm doing. This, that, and the third.
Mhm.
Now I'm not going to say uh, when I say be selfless, I'm not saying let them abuse you. Neither. It's definitely not what I'm saying. Because if we get to the point where you can't um, have a conversation with them, or they're not trying to receive or hear what you're saying, then yeah, at that point you're putting yourself in a bad situation. With you, you was listening, like even when you. So I tell y'all this story. We talk about it, or she picks at me and bothers me about it. I was going through the way I dealt with when I was upset or bothered or having bad days. I was just wouldn't answer my phone and talk to nobody. Well, I hope you don't mind me saying that, dude.
Mhm.
So from what she had been through in a relationship that she had just got out of, the guy would give her the silent treatment. So, we got two different variables going on. It's triggering her because that's what she just came out of. Somebody not answering the phone. Me, I have my days. I just don't talk to anybody at all. I'll just go silent for a couple days until I get my thoughts and get something happen where I just get in a better situation. And that was a terrible. I think isn't that when I came to the house that day or something?
No. That's when you
Okay.
you got mad because I blocked you.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So and for me to explain that to her, I think at first she didn't receive it as well. I guess it had to sink in your head for a minute. And then, we started talking. It wasn't no 3, 4 days that we didn't talk though, as far as about the situation.
Right. No.
So, and then they're like, yeah, that's just how I handle things. And then she explained to me that, that's solid treatment, whatever the case was. And that's what I'm saying about being selfless. Um, you know, it's a lot easier for me to talk to her when I'm not in a when I'm in a bad mood, because normally she cheers me up anyway. But I knew that from that point on, I knew me doing that makes her feel away. So then I had to step out of the way to do that. So whatever. That was just the example of one thing that, how you could help somebody that's being hurt or dealing with somebody that's being hurt. It's not for everybody. I can tell you that. It's definitely not for everybody. So anyway,
Mhm.
that's pretty much all I had. I had a couple more, but I had
Halftime he can't read his handwriting.
Yeah, because I just be scribbling. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I got one more. It's personal. What areas do you think that we have? I didn't put that one in. We have improved in, and where do we need to improve? I agree
I
with
think
that
we
one.
approved in
Yep,
communication.
I agree with that. I knew she was gonna say that. And that's 98% you.
A lot better with communicating with each other. And I think where we could grow at is.
Well, I ain't growing no more. I've been this
I
high
thought
since
you
the
said
ninth
what
grade.
could
I've been this high since the ninth grade. I ain't growing
Well,
no more.
let's see.
48 now. I'm done.
I don't know actually. I mean, I know we've enhanced our communication is a lot better. Um,
Which was a big hindrance.
it was.
I can think of a couple places we can grow. We're doing it now, trying to do it now.
What?
Spiritually, together.
Oh yeah. Spiritually together. Yes,
So
that's important. And I agree. Yeah, we can go grow spiritually together. And I think maybe being on maybe on one accord, we
that's
can
what
grow
I
in
was gonna
that
say.
area too.
Such as I'm talking about, such as things like, and I was getting ready to do it today. That's why I got this marker right here. But that's what you call me. I don't know where it went. A black marker. We got a little thing where I've never done this before, so it becomes, especially with my ADHD, it becomes difficult for me to remember. But it was my idea. We get like a little chart and write our bills down and what has to be paid and stuff like that. So we can stop every month saying this, that, and the third. But becoming, one on stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lot. That's 90% of me, 95% of me, still trying to change my mentality on certain things, which is a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. I've gotten better, but it's still a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I guess like you said, working to become on one accord while we're driving a Chevy. Get it, Accord, Chevy, But yep, pretty much. That's all I have, baby. Then you want to go back to the original question?
Yeah, so I think like for me, long-term goals, marriage goals would be the growth. So we just talked about a little bit of that, but continually growing together, spiritually and mentally, and I think just growth for both of us individually, right, and then spiritually, and then together. Um, Another long-term marriage goal would be to um, I feel like that there's a purpose that for us, and so building on that ministry, and then the other thing would be the one accord thing I just said, like being more in sync with each other. Um, uh, Both of us operating more out of the spirit, by the spirit, and the fruit of the spirits, and then having continuing with a strong foundation where that regardless of whatever situation, not even if it's situation directly involving us, but situation that get thrown at us, we remain kind of unrocked by that. So
Well, I agree with the continuing. I only have a couple really. Actually, you said it, but like the growth thing is a broad field, right? So when I say growth, I'm talking about spiritually, individually, like mentally, um, like even with you doing your meditation, right? I haven't. I try. I can't do it as long as her because I don't know why. I talked to Isis about that, but I try. Um, you know, with that growth, allowing one another to, while helping one another figure it out,
mhm.
if that makes any sense. Like you do a real good job at that with me. Um, I don't know if I mean, I know how important that the meditation thing is to you. Like today, I didn't even know you was in there, and I was getting ready to bring your sweaters in there. So going back to the respecting the boundaries and stuff,
Mhm.
like you don't have to tell me not to come in there. And I know you're doing something like
Right,
that, right?
right.
So I had your sweaters, and I was, oh, I didn't know you was back in there. I thought you had did that this morning.
Mhm.
So I give you that time, and I see. By the way, I see you giving me a little bit more leeway, maybe more than you like, uh, as far as playing the game. And what that allows me to do is, like you said this morning, you didn't normally want to commend you on that too, because I was like, damn, here she comes, she's gonna say something, right? You said what you had to say, or why you didn't do this first, right? What was it? What was it? Make the
Oh, the
bed. What was
clothes,
it?
pick,
Clothes. Yeah, clothes.
fold the clothes first.
Yeah. Why you didn't do that first? Well, my thing has always been, let me we the opposite right here. I'm gonna play my game, get me a couple games out the way, and then I'll be motivated to do things, right? Because you said what you said, I was gonna do it anyway. That's why I poured it on the bed. But again, me being that, what you seen when I got up and started doing,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I know I can't do this all day today.
Mhm.
So let me get up and do that. So you allowing me to, while voicing your opinion, to figure it out,
Mhm.
right? It was like, hey, why you do that? You know you should do that, whatever, but you still allow me to do that. So yeah, growing that way as well
Hey, cousin.
as just continuous just growing, love each other. In my previous marriage, I never she had told me that you're supposed to always grow in love.
Mhm.
Your love should grow. I never knew what that meant until I met you. Right. So I can, like I told you, still give me butterflies even when you get on my nerve. I don't know if that ever gonna go away. I hope it don't, because I don't want to deal with anything that you said could potentially happen.
Mhm.
But just continuously grow in love and just respect each other. Because I think I ain't gonna say we're 65, 70% there. I don't want to go higher.
What?
Just being the perfect couple. And the reason why, let me say,
The perfect couple.
yeah, the perfect couple. The reason I go so low
Mhm.
is because if I don't give a lot of room to grow, then that means I think we're better than where we're at.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's gonna be like, I can tell you now, when the last long we had? Serious, like, I don't like you, you don't like me, yelling at each other.
A while.
It's been
Long time.
a very long time. Probably the second, third month of last year, maybe,
Yeah.
if that. And whatever clicked at that point, clicked. Whatever started working, started working. And it was a communication barrier. Is all it was. For instance, I'll give y'all an example. Because I am from the hood, I say hood stuff. It was a simple conversation,
Yes.
and we was coming. Excuse my French, because I'm gonna say it, we was coming down the street, and I was right in front of the lake. I forgot what I said we was talking about. When I was like, man, fuck you. I'm just blah 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 blah. And I didn't mean like F
Oh, you
you.
spoke that a long time ago.
Yeah. I didn't mean like F you. It was basically like forget that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But that's the way I say that type of stuff. And Lord have mercy. She flew. What you mean, F me? F you? You don't tell me F. Like, no, that's not, no. What? Wait, what do you mean? What are you doing? And, so by me saying that, she went to 10. And I'm like, what are you
That was a
talking
long
about?
time ago, y'all.
No, it
That
was a
was
long
like
time, a long time ago. So I'm just telling y'all, like, the growth that we
That was
had. And so, like, just continue to grow and respect and love one another. That's all.
Yeah.
And keep figuring stuff out how we figure it out. We had a little incident the other day, text message thing, and the kids was joking. I didn't know they was joking about where to park. We got like 3-4 acres of land, and I'm like, y'all really complaining about parking, da da da. And I did get a little bit annoyed, but my wife just, but why are you getting so upset? But why? No, I'm saying I'm not upset, but you are. This is all I'm just trying to tell you. This, that, and she all calm and stuff. And ordinarily, at first it did. I ain't even gonna lie to you. At first it did. Like, man, I ain't no need for you to be calm. I'm mad, right? And I was like, okay. Then I have to remember what we're trying to do and what you're doing. That's one of them instances where you're way better than I am, because if you didn't work on yourself to where you were at, that would have went back to one of them other situations, because we would have been back and forth. Right. So I thank God for that, and I thank God for you, and thank you for that. I didn't tell you that, but after I came upstairs, I was like, yeah, I'm glad she practicing meditation, because boy, that could have get turned left quick. So yeah, that's what I don't know. Yeah, just and stay we have to keep practicing patience with one another. You more than me, but I'm
patient.
No, I'm saying no. I mean, well, me more than you.
Oh, okay.
No, you more than me, because you got to be more patient with me.
Oh, I have to be more patient.
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Oh, you mean? Wait, what do you mean?
You have to be more patient with some of the things.
Oh, you're saying you're more challenging. Yeah.
Pretty much. You. Yeah. Yeah, you have to practice patience more than me.
Yeah.
With me.
Yes.
So, and I'm working on trying to get it together. So.
I understand. I appreciate that.
But
that's the other thing. Appreciating that.
That's all. We're not taking each other for granted.
Yeah, not taking each other for granted. That's why I like
appreciate our marriage goals.
Yeah.
And to make sure that you said a word to me. Like I said, I probably didn't say this already, but you said it, and I said it a lot to Ice as our counselor. That intentional word means a lot.
It does.
Like, you told me one day, and I don't know if it was here or right before we moved, that you feel as though I was taking you for granted. And I'm like, what the fuck you mean taking you for granted? I appreciate everything you do. Da, 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 da. And when you explained it to me, I was like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I was. You know what I mean? Because you can, like, it's not a thing of I know Zorana going to do a type of thing with me, right? But it's just the ideal of that's why when I be playing the game, and you like, hey, come on, let's go. Can you do that? I'll cut it off, right? Because at the end of the day, that game is not more important than you. So I don't want to necessarily make you wait or anything like that, because to me now that's taking you for granted. You said you want something done, or I need to do something, and if it was an important game or something that meant something, then yeah. But like, my record is terrible. What I care about that? So like, let me do what my wife says. And even if my record was great, I still would do it. I'm just saying in general.
Right.
So that's but
yeah, it's important. So
that's all I got.
That's all he is. And so just to let you all know, I don't know, I think it's a good way to incorporate. He talks about my meditation, but I'm not in there. Well, it's kind of a meditation I'm doing the whole time, but it's not really just all meditation, if that makes sense. It's more like mindfulness and stuff like that. But I think it's helpful for a lot of people. I keep telling people that it definitely changes your life. My cousin started me on the journey of mindfulness, and I just kind of kept going on my own. But again, in the morning, there's just 6 habits that I engage in. The one is the mindfulness breathing to begin, and then I show gratitude. So I express what I'm thankful for, and then I send compassion to others. So I send. That's what takes me so long because I have to go through. I go through everyone by name. All the kids, all my sisters, and then my nieces and nephews and everyone, and so I send compassions to everyone, and then I set intentions for myself for the day, which a lot of my intention is like I will uh, communicate in love, and I will, operate. Uh, I will exercise passion. I mean patience, and I will, face my task with joy and different things like that. And then I engage in mindful stretching. Uh, but that's what I came back upstairs to do because didn't get a chance to finish it before I had a meeting this morning. And I didn't get a chance to finish it, so I came back upstairs and did my mindful stretching. But then I do mindful stretching, which is just a way to get your body going, and it definitely helps even when I'm sleep. If I'm sleepy and I engage in the mindful stretching, it wakes me up and kind of focuses my brain. And then the sixth one is what they call mindful eating. And so when you do get a chance to eat, we've been fasting, so I haven't gotten a chance to eat till later on. But then when you do eat, you're supposed to be mindful of what you're eating.
Yeah, see, I ain't made it to
which
that
makes
point
you appreciate what you're eating and think about eating clean and healthier and savoring what you eat as opposed to rushing through it.
That's what I do, so I can get some more.
But it just definitely helps. So before I grab my phone or anything, like to even post my scripture on Facebook, I do my habits first because that keeps your brain from it. Anyways, helped me to stay focused throughout the day to keep me from feeling like a lot of chaos and everything. Even with work, it keeps me calm and everything throughout the day. So that's what he's talking about. So.
Yep, and then we got to figure out. We're gonna My wife still looks amazing. I've gained 20 pounds. And I'm not really liking what I look like as far as my weight because, like, when we was in Iowa, it started off at 230, uh, got down to 178, 180, and now I'm back up around 200. And this thing over here still 130, 38, one somewhere around there. And now she's eating what she want to eat, and I'm trying to eat what I want to eat, but she work out more than me, so my 20 pounds came back. But we may incorporate some of our workouts and stuff like that too. But we're gonna get a gym. It'd be a lot better if we can get a gym when we get our gym.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a gym and a movie theater in our backyard sooner or later. Hopefully in the next month or two. What do you think?
Yeah.
And we'll share some of those videos as well. It's not necessarily me sharing anything. I'm just there. I follow her when it comes to that. So that'll be good because people always ask. I know they always ask. I don't know if they still ask you, what did you do in this, that, and the third. So like, and like you said, though, a lot of people they'll ask that question because they'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it," or "That's amazing," and blah blah blah. But when that's the other word that is it when you're not disciplined, it doesn't work. Like I remember in Iowa, I wasn't disciplined in either. I just was, had her really, really there. In Iowa, I'd be hungry and wanting to eat, and she'd be like, "Nope, we can't do that." Da 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 da. But because she was disciplined is the reason that I ended up seeing the gains from it. So I can tell y'all from watching her, and being around and going through it with her, it's not easy, but it can be done. For somebody to go from 230 to 130, 100 pounds in a year and a half with no surgery, uh, I can't say it's nothing less than amazing. And I look at her and, I'm like, I don't know. People put it like this: people have surgery to do what she did. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think she gives herself enough credit for that as well. Because she still be talking about she want to lose weight. But anyway, that's it, people.
All right, we will see you.
We're gonna
next
talk about
Tuesday.
next Tuesday is gonna be Venus and Mars.
Yeah, and watch for our video. We're gonna post a video Saturday, so we'll record.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to post this ass. I'm
not. Anyway, he may be burning food, so we gotta go. I hope you turned that stuff off.
Oh sugar.
Yeah,
I turned it down.
You turned it down.
Oh.
Turn it off. And it was eggs, so we're gonna see. Have a good night, everyone.